Our first feature will be business and immigration law. This is proudly laid out on this screen by attorney Ramesh Khurana of the Khurana Law Firm in Gaithersburg, Maryland. This morning, our moderator, attorney Kenneth Haber of Boyd's, Maryland, has a bunch of questions for attorney Khurana regarding international travel and change of status approval with future start dates. Let's take a look.
Welcome. My name's Kenneth Haber. I'm a former assistant United States attorney and I'm a former senior attorney in the Office of Inspector General of United States Department of Health and Human Services. Today we're privileged to have Ramesh Khurana. Welcome, Ramesh.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure, sir. Here to answer some questions concerning immigration, and this is the Capitol Forum.
Immigration is very close to my heart, Ken.
I would imagine. It's close to my heart, too.
Ask me, very difficult questions today.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Some of these questions are
complex. Sure.
Can you please explain what an F1 status is in terms of immigration law?
Sure. Some students, when they go to colleges and universities and they do not have any other visa status, now they have to stay in legal status, and the only option probably left is the F1 status, which is a kind of student visa. Many people, thousands of people, they come from overseas and they join these universities and the colleges on F1 visa.
I see. How would that interact with an H-1B petition?
The only interaction comes into play for H-1B I can see is in my practice that when a person has gone to the college and he has completed a degree here in the United States universities or colleges, and after about 9 months or 1 year at least spending, now they are entitled for the OPT status, which is called the optional practical training. Now, while OPT status allows them to work in the United States, but it is only for 12 months unless that person has completed some college degree under the STEM program. Under STEM, they are entitled for 2 more years. But again, nowadays there is a lottery system for the H-1B petitions because number of petition is much more than the available numbers. To tell you, for the year 2017, there were 235,000 H-1B petitions filed with USCIS, and the total number available is just 85,000, including 20,000 under the master degree quota. So, as soon as they come out of the colleges, they are on OPT status, they try their luck because it's a lottery. So, they file, of course, they have to file the H-1B petition through the employers. So, this is how a great interaction is between F1 and H-1B status.
Can a student travel abroad while on an H-1B visa with a request to change to an F1 status is pending?
This is a question which basically bothers everybody who's on F1 visa status, and that person has filed an H-1B petition which is pending adjudication by USCIS. So, most of the times these petitions are filed for change of status from F1 to H-1B, and the change of status is possible only when a person continues to be in the United States. If a person leaves the United States and goes overseas, then basically the change of status petition is abandoned. In this kind of situation, USCIS under its discretionary power will approve the petition, but it will be for a consular processing. What does it mean? That person has to go back to his home country and get the visa and come back. So, this is how this process works. If you leave in the middle of the fact that H-1B is pending, but let us say that H-1B petition is approved. Every year when the H-1B petitions are filed, these are approved with the prospective dates. Now, the prospective date is October 1 because that is the time when new fiscal year starts. So, if the H-1B petition is approved as from October 1 and if the OPT of the person is valid, let us say up to December 31st of that year. So, this person can now have the international travel, but he has to make sure that he returns on F1 status before October 1, because October 1 is the future start date, and he will be admitted on F1 status.
And
so,
then
that is the way it works.
Then he'll switch over to an H-1B?
Then he will basically wait for October 1 to come, and from October 1 he will switch over to H-1B, yes.
That gets complicated.
Yeah, and he will travel only when let us say the petition was filed under the premium processing, and new petitions are filed as from April 1, and most of the times under premium processing the adjudication takes place, let us say, by 3rd week of May, and if the petition is approved as from October 1, there is absolutely no problem, that person can leave. But there is a caveat. There is something which is called the cap. So, what does it mean? That means, let us say that OPT status of the person expired in April. Now, if the petition is approved under the cap arrangement, his status gets extended in valid status up to September 30th. But if this person leaves the United States in between, and then this person wants to come back and his status has expired, he cannot, because he has to enter on F1 and F1 status has already expired. So, this is a word of caution to those F1 students. If your H-1B petition is approved and your F1 status is beyond October 1, then you should take the international travel, otherwise you should not.
Very good. In other words, what they need to do before they travel is talk to some attorney who's very knowledgeable about all these.
That's very important. Whenever you are in a very complex kind of immigration situation, we always advise the viewers that talk to an immigration lawyer, so that you do not want to mess up your plans. You have your dreams while you have come to the United States. As you always say, USA is the best destination, best country in the world.
For me anyways.
I agree with you. There is absolutely no doubt. And that's the reason that thousands of talented people, they are coming on H-1B petition, and this is in great demand.
I would like to say one thing. I know I'm always a booster of the United States. I truly believe, and this includes my wife, that the people who immigrate here, the people who come here, are a boost to us as well. This is what gives this country, so much robustness, and it gives us so much capacity to just be beyond any other nation. We truly are.
That's very true. You are getting talented people from all over the world. There is one program which is called EB1 category. Under EB1 category, when you apply for the extraordinary ability, for example, and even nationals of India and China, they can obtain their green cards very quickly because priority date is always current. You see, those people have done PhDs and fellowship and so many things. So, you are getting basically talented and highly educated, trained people from the world. So, they come and they really do exceedingly well in the field of research and sciences and maths and other fields, and they basically do so much good for this country. They become the entrepreneurs, they create jobs for thousands of people.
Absolutely.
This is how the economy develops.
And if you look at Europe, it's losing population in so many places.
Yes.
There was a recent study out in terms of, what are the winning countries and what are the losing countries for the next couple decades, and this is a winning country. And some of the countries that we think as powerful countries are losing their power because of the fact that, they limited their populations, so they don't have population growth. They're aging their populations because of the fact that they don't have population growth. In this country, because of the fact we do have population growth of young, vibrant people, we are now and we will be, the primary power in the rest of the decade and beyond.
You know, Ken, you are right. Let's talk about Canada and Australia. Now, they have very robust immigration policies at this point of time, and they are competing with the United States basically because they have a scoring system and they are inviting talented people from all over the world. And of course, USA is the most preferred destination, I would like to say, but at the same time, people who cannot make to the United States, they have different choices. So, I have seen many people coming to Canada and they get the landed immigrant status, then they become Canadian citizens, and then again they try to come to the USA. This is the trend. I see that this is the increasing trend. And even sometimes people who are sitting here, like they can have H-1B visas for a period of 6 years. So, if they are unable to obtain the green cards within a period of 6 years or reach up to a certain stage of the green card where they can have extension in the H-1B status, they just decide to go to Canada because it takes them 1.5 years to get the landed immigrant status, but they are parking themselves temporarily in Canada.
Yeah.
Again, they are going to Canada across the border. They do not want to go back to their home countries, and they want to come back as soon as possible.
You're talking about my ancestry. On my mother's side, her mother and her father came from Europe, and they went to Canada. They ended up in Windsor. So my father was born in this country, in the great country of New York City, and migrated to Detroit area right across from Windsor.
Oh, that's why you went to Michigan Law School, because you were raised in Michigan area, right?
Well, yeah, instead of Harvard, I don't want to take a step down to Harvard.
And you were assistant U.S. attorney also in
Detroit.
In Detroit.
In
yeah.
Detroit,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. But we used to tease my mother that she came in off the boat, the Detroit-Windsor ferry.
Right, right.
You know, but there's an example of people coming and they probably wanted to go to the United States first, but they weren't able to get in, so they went to Canada, and then my mother came over and the rest of her family.
But ultimate goal is to come to the United States.
And they all did.
Yeah,
They all
that's
did.
right.
What are some of the important documents that international student travelers should be thinking about and making sure that they have on them when they're traveling?
You know, if they want to travel, the most important thing is when the H-1B petition has been filed, now you should be having, first of all, your form I-20 duly endorsed by the your international department of the college where you are admitted. And number two, of course, you have to make sure that you have a valid passport. And third thing important is because you are staying here based on the fact that an H-1B petition has been filed on your behalf, so you need to obtain a letter of employment offer from the employer, and you know, probably he can also add in the letter that he intends to go back to his country and he is on vacation for 3 weeks, and on return of his on completion of his vacation period he is going to come back. So document all these important papers very carefully, so that when you are coming back and applying for admission to the United States, now CBP, now Customs and Border Protection Force, who are going to greet you at the port of entry, they are going to look for these documents and they want to ask you all these questions. And especially when you come to the CBP interview, sometime they take you for the secondary inspection where they are going to spend more time with you. And basically they are going to look at your immigration history and ask all these questions. In order to have the smooth interview, you need to carry all this documentation.
Well, better have more documentation than less documentation.
That's very true.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's an I-94 other than the Interstate 94? What document is that?
You know, this I-94, this is the arrival and departure record of a person who is neither a green card holder nor a US citizen. Let us say a person is on H-1B status, and when he is admitted to the United States, Customs and Border Protection Force would issue an I-94. Now, it's no longer issued in the paper form. It is just entered electronically. It is in the system which would allow you up to what time you are permitted to stay in the United States. Remember one thing, whatever the I-94 says, I-94 controls over the visa in your passport. So that's the catch here. So it's a very important document. When you come out of the CBP, you can print online.
Very good, very good. Well, our time is getting close to the end, and I was just wondering if there's any last statement you'd like to make to the viewing audience about this.
Only statement which I would like to make is that always keep your immigration documents under your control, and especially when you are having international travel.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate.